Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the November meeting of the Parish Council. I must remind you all that you are actually being filmed, apart from the back corner there, which is people are then exempt from being shown. But these are the cameras here working. Right.
Is the sound on, Chairman?
The sound's on from through these microphones here, but no sound is on from you yet. No. No sound is available yet, is it? Yeah. It is available now. Yes, it's all on. Right. Item number 2, to allow questions from Anston Parish Council on the recreation ground, which we will pass through to the charity. Any questions on that? No. To allow representations regarding planning applications within the civil parish of Anston to be considered later in the meeting. The ones later in the meeting are the proposed development at the former Flaxton site, proposed housing development Penny Peace Lane. No. Sorry, this one. Sorry.
Buckendall Lane.
Yes, that's right. Buckendall Lane, and the pruning of the trees on the Bork, and extension of ENH at Houghton Lane. That's not applicable. Northampton, is it? Northampton. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought it was yeah. Right, any questions from members of anybody at this stage? No.
Is it public questions you're asking, John?
I'm asking if there's anybody got...
Yes.
Anybody got... Yeah, so on the planning applications.
Oh, sorry.
Not yet. Okay.
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Okay. D. One question per elector of the civil parish of Anston on a topic for which the parish council has responsibility. If you'd like to put your hand up and ask if... Yes, Mr. Sadler.
I wanted to ask a question about the statement that you made to the advertiser, John.
Yeah, what was that? Can you read that?
Photograph. Yes, well, it is quite contrary to what actually was said.
Oh, okay. I'll...
In the meeting, I didn't know if you'd changed your mind.
Which one is it? Which advertiser?
The advertiser has made a mistake.
Which advertiser is it? Which date?
I've not got a date on this. Last Friday.
Oh, I don't see it last Friday because I don't take the advertiser.
You've not seen it?
I only take the Workshop Guardian. So can you ask me the question?
Well, the reporter, Phil Turner, said that you told him that you're in, well, these are my words.
Yeah,
you can
okay.
make this afterwards.
Yeah.
That you told him that you were going to allow public filming of the charity.
That's right, we did do.
If we had waited, you would have brought us up. But my understanding was that you actually told me not to film.
The decision made at the time... we'll wait and take all the questions first. Next question. Mrs. Strada-Haig.
Child sexual exploitation in Anston.
Yeah, what's the question?
About child sexual exploitation.
Well, can you be more specific so we know what we're talking about?
At the last meeting I asked regarding this, and the meeting, you closed the meeting at 9:30, and the public didn't get chance to have their questions at the end of the meeting because you voted to not allow standing orders to increase the meeting by 50
That's right.
So I want to carry on from there, please.
So what's the question?
It's about child sexual exploitation.
Well, that's not a question, Hilary. Can you ask me the question?
It's about child exploitation in Anston and what the councillors know about it.
I think Councillor Thornton... No, sorry. Councillor Jepson answered that. He said that to his knowledge there was no record of anything...
No, I'm asking the question and I want to...
Okay, right. Right, anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Lewis?
now that Sean Wright has now gone, shouldn't the senior advisors to Sean Wright also have to stand down?
Yeah, okay. Right, anyone else? Mrs. Webster?
I'd like to ask the councillors if they're aware of the recent government guidance, planning guidance, specifically on the green belt, where the government has said they would protect green belt, and that local planners and specifically planners at the borough council level are advising councillors that they must release green belt land in order to meet targets, housing targets. The government advice that was issued after the local plan consultation is that that is not the case, and that councils do not meet housing targets if it means releasing green belt
Okay.
land.
Right. Anybody else? Yes,
Well, that's
Ms.
a
Kavanagh?
question on whether or not council will be backing new trading estate as proposed at Tottenham.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda later on, Kevin.
Right.
Yeah. It's on the agenda, right? Yeah. Right, if that's it, we'll... Bill
Some
Thompson?
of the questions on behalf of the friends of ours in the River Brand. And the meeting that is 2 meetings ago, perhaps, this is one that's transferred earlier, that applied for item down in relation to our role and relationship with the parish council workers. I would like to ask him if he wants to keep the raise this question again, because there are certain things we would like to do with the cemetery building in the area. And I can understand that we should ask permission from the council, approval, but that seems to be taking a long time to get done. We come down to have a go to the meetings as a council. We come back there the next month, 3 months now, and we wait to find out exactly what he wants our role to be or to discuss it.
Okay, Bill. Anybody else?
Simon Bunker.
Simon?
Bunker,
Yeah.
B-U-N-K-E-R.
Yeah.
It's about the budget questionnaire on your website. Just want to know how people are supposed to make informed opinion about whether it's too much or too little that's being proposed to spend on different budget areas when there's no information about how those figures have been arrived at. E.g. £10,000 to deal with the trees in Anston Woods. Or how's that figure been arrived at? Have any estimates been brought up? Just want more information before you fill in the boxes.
Yeah, okay.
More information could be given.
Okay. Any more? Right, we'll go back first on Mrs. Sadler. Something I was supposed to have said or out of the newspaper. Could you read it to me?
Well, it might be helpful, John, if you could just make the position clear
Yes.
on the council's
Yeah.
policy
Yeah.
on filming.
Yeah. Right, at the meeting I said that there was no provision for filming, but because everybody wanted it and it was later to be discussed in the meeting, then it would be permitted. So you were permitted to film, and I made it quite clear it was on the agenda later on.
That is not my understanding of what happened.
Okay. Well,
But
that's
are
it.
you now saying that is the policy of the council, that we will in future be able to film charity meetings?
That's the charity. It's got nothing to do with the council.
I thought the council was in charge of the charity.
No.
Am I mistaken?
The council are the sole, what do you call them, trustee. That's all.
That's all.
The council
That's
are the
everything,
trustee.
John.
The council
The council
are the trustee.
as a body
Is
is
the
the sole
trustee.
trustee.
Yeah.
So none of the councillors present are trustees in their own right.
They're
Is that
there
correct?
because they are councillors.
Right, so,
But I'm not a trustee.
no.
Said that last time.
Anybody's not a trustee. Stuart's not a trustee.
No, you-
But
you
the
said last
council
time
are
you
a
were a
trustee, and we are councillors. So
Just remember, John, because it's on record what you said.
yeah, okay, that's fine.
I did film the meeting, the
Yeah.
charity meeting, so it's all on record.
That's fair enough.
Right, and you didn't say that.
Right.
Could I have your policy now?
You're allowed to film in meetings.
The charity
Yeah,
meeting?
we have done that, haven't we? Yeah, and the council. Have we done charity yet? Or did the meeting finish before we got around to that? Yeah. Yeah, explain to them.
There is a legal difference between the charity and the council. The council comes under the openness regulations. In legislation, it has to allow filming. The charity is a totally separate legal entity. It does not have to allow filming. The charity passed a resolution whereby it said that the charity can film itself, which it has done, but it would not allow other people to film those proceedings. That ruling is still standing, and really the charity shouldn't be looking at renegotiating that agreement until 6 months has passed. So that's the position we're in. If the chairman allowed for the suspension of standing orders to allow the charity or to allow the public to film during that charity meeting, then that was relevant to that one particular charity meeting. But as far as the charity is concerned, what was passed, and that was that the public should not be filming those meetings, and that's how it still stands at this moment in time, until the charity revisits that particular
Push it back on the
resolution.
agenda.
So what are you saying then, John? That the report in the advertiser is false?
I don't know what I can't comment on the advertiser. I've not read it.
You're chairman.
It conflicts completely.
Yeah, well,
with what you just said.
I don't take the Rotherham Advertiser. Okay. So I don't know what's been written down. I don't know if it's true or false.
I'll give this to you.
Yes, if you would, I'd be able to read it then.
Right, but I would like to make the point that the charity of which Anston Parish Council is the sole trustee
Yeah.
is not strictly run on the lines of a charity where every member is a trustee in their own right, and therefore the rules are different.
Well, I can't answer that. I take advice from our legal advisor. Mr. Stranahan.
Can I make a point, Chair?
If you wish.
I'd like to make a point. The first thing is, 2 points. First point just spoke, and I'll speak about the article in the advertiser. The first point, we have this argument at the charity meeting for whether the public were allowed to film or not.
Yeah.
I objected strongly to your decision not to allow them to film. And the reason I objected was the parish council is the sole trustee, as you quite rightly said this week, which you didn't say last week, of the charity. Members sit around this table in the capacity as parish councillors, not as trustees. Not like the last meeting when you said we sat around the table as trustees. We are summoned by the parish clerk on note paper headed Anston Parish Council, and as I said previously, we attend this meeting as parish councillors. It's an open public meeting, and therefore, in my opinion, it should be allowed to film. Although we run under the rules of the charity, we are here as councillors. Now, what I find even more astonishing over and above that is, as a charity, a Bleak Council, we are refusing and not allowing members of the public to film us while we debate issues, but we, with these 2 cameras, are filming the public. I think that's morally irreprehensible.
Yeah.
Right, that's the first point. The second point is on this article that's in the advertiser. You were obviously contacted by the advertiser chairman to make some form of statement. The statements you made, some of them were inaccurate and false. One of them was you said that the charity meeting is a private meeting for councillors. That's not true. This is not the first time I've brought up the subject of articles in newspapers that you, Chairman, are quoting to them and
I've got them here.
wrong and incorrect facts. If you're going to, as Chairman, if you're going to quote facts on behalf of the Parish Council, they have to be true. And
Yeah.
they have to be correct. Otherwise you're letting the whole council down.
Yeah.
When I I don't summons people to the charity meetings because the charity requests the presence of people as opposed to the council, which does summon the members to attend. When I act in the capacity of clerk to the trust, that's what I am, clerk to the trust, not the clerk to the parish council. And the header paper that comes from the charity is headed the Anston Parish Council Recreation Ground Registered Charity, because that is the name of that registered charity. So it's not the Anston Parish Council headed paper, it's Anston Parish Council Recreation Ground Registered Charity headed paper.
Well, can I just come back on that, Chair? If the clerk cannot be the clerk to the trust, because the clerk is employed by the parish council. He's not employed by the charity. Therefore, he can only be clerk to the parish council.
Chair. Right, can you just answer that and then we'll move on, because we're getting nowhere.
On the point of who employs who, I mean the parish council employs the cleaners, but the cleaners work for the parish council recreation ground charity, because the building belongs to the charity.
Sorry to contradict you, but they actually work for the parish council, and the parish workers, do work inside this building on behalf of the parish council. Is that not true?
Chair, can we please make progress?
Yeah.
Right.
Mr. Straday, you asked about the child problem, the children's problem experienced in Rotherham as queried in Anston. Is that what you said?
I didn't ask about the children's problem. I asked about child sexual exploitation.
Oh, I would have thought that was a problem. Would you like to answer that one?
Just a minute.
Yeah. The question's already been asked, and I've got them written down. That's why I asked you at the beginning to give the question, not for you to go into a long spiel about it. Yeah.
At the last meeting, I asked the councillors, the borough councillors, who were on the borough council whilst this atrocious business was taking place. It seems we've got collective amnesia on this, but I did ask Councillor St John what he knew about it, because he was at the notorious 2005 seminar. No denying that. Professor J says in her report that anyone who was at that seminar would know, could not deny knowing about child sexual exploitation. I did ask Councillor St John, as an attendee at that seminar, just what he took from that seminar and what he knew about it. And he said he didn't know any of the children. Now, I wanted to come back on that, but you refused to relax standing orders and the meeting code. So I want to know now, Councillor St John, what did you know and what did you do when you were told about this atrocious business of child sexual exploitation going on in Rotherham?
Well, I thought that Councillor St John had answered this fully.
Councillor St John, thank you.
You asked your question through me, and yes, last time when he answered the question, he said he had no knowledge of anything to do with Anston.
No, he did not. He said,
anyway, this is not.
He said, excuse me. He said that he didn't know any of the children.
Well, that's
what he said, and that was.
I don't think he said that.
Can I attempt?
Yeah.
If I'm not interrupted, can I attempt to answer this again?
Yeah, again.
I said last time, can we finally put this to bed?
No.
That is the way that half of the people present wish to denigrate democracy. Let them know.
You need to listen to them.
Quiet,
John. The question was asked. I thought actually it was 2004, the seminar.
There was one in 2004 that I'm talking particularly about.
Please, will you please not interrupt? You've asked a question, let me give you the courtesy of answering.
Excuse me, Chair. Chairman,
Yes, Stuart, what is it?
we ask Councillor St John not to shout at members of the public and not to raise his voice at them.
It's the only way he can get himself...
No, well, that's not an excuse, we're under a code of conduct.
Right, okay.
And members are not allowed to be raised.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to stand up
Let's
unless
go back.
you've got a point of order.
If Councillor Thorne would kindly sit down.
Yeah.
Right, but
I believe there may very well have been 2 seminars. My diaries tell me that I was at one. I thought it was 2004. All councillors were invited. I had no idea how many other people were there. A presentation was given, the details of which I can't remember because it's at least 9 or 10 years ago, about child sexual exploitation in Rotherham. Questions were asked, including by me, because I do remember that, and the answer given, we were told no details about the children concerned. You wouldn't be.
I'm not talking to this.
Please do not interrupt me. We were not given details of the children concerned, but we listened with a degree, well, obviously of interest and also horror. A number of councillors asked what is happening, and we were told that officers and members of South Yorkshire Police were dealing with these problems. It was not, I repeat again, it was not a problem of the area which I served, which basically was lifelong learning and cultural and leisure services. I did not know the details, and I repeat that. Is it okay, Mrs. Estrada, to keep coming back with the same question? Because what you would like to hear is me or any other councillor saying, I knew this, this and this, and knowing all that, I did nothing. Now that is not true.
Right, next question with Mr Thompson. No,
No,
you can't. You cannot. Please, you're out. One question has been answered. Mr Thompson, your question about the cemetery.
Well, it's fine.
I've decided to change the order of these questions because the people who ask questions like Mr Thompson have been trying to get this question answered for 3 months. So we're going to answer Mr Thompson's question now. Would you like to say, Bill, you want some clarification as to...
No, I just want Clive to explain. You had a question down about 3 meetings ago. Our role within the parish council or something. We'd like to know this a lot, but what we're finding is we can't make it to you to get an answer if we get the...
Can I just make a suggestion? I totally agree with you. I mean, I've had this item on, in fact I've had 1 or 2 other than that never seemed any nearer getting discussed. Am I right in understanding do you have a meeting on a Thursday?
There's one
this Thursday. Would that be alright would that be alright if I came actually and met you then? I mean, I don't know whether the clerk's here then, but perhaps we could discuss, I know there's an item on tonight, so I mean, I'm quite prepared to come down on Thursday morning and discuss the entire thing with you, see if we can make some progress. Because it's not on tonight's agenda, it will not be until the finance meeting in December, at best, if we get through that. So, you know, where things are going, we could be talking about January at this rate. So I'm quite prepared to come down on Thursday morning, if you want, to go through these issues and see if we can get some sort of common ground and see where we are. Whether Michael is in attendance on Thursday, I don't know whether we need him there. I don't know. Are you okay with that? Is that would that be of a help if we can do that?
Can I just come in a minute?
Yeah.
Right. It was my understanding that provided you had the parish workers with you, you could do work.
This is the sort of thing I'd like to discuss with Clive.
Right, because it's all down to an insurance issue, you know, and if as long as the parish workers are there with you, because I think the clerk spoke on this as well, I'm not sure, I think we've authorised it, as long as you have a parish worker with you present, then you're covered by the insurance. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. The parish workers with them, they're covered by insurance. Right, it needs to be discussed after.
Well, I thought it had already been discussed, but they'll have to be clarified.
Right, that's okay, Bill, you're going to do that on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, if Michael can get, then, I know we've got an item on tonight, can we include that in it as well and work his way through it, Bill? I think there's an item on about the plaque tonight. Can we include that as a general discussion and see if we can move forward on all these issues? I mean, it seems to be the best way of doing it because we can always come back to council, but at least if we can find some, agree things before then. It makes sense rather than wait, because I think everybody loses the thread after a couple of months as to where we are and what we're looking to do. So yeah, I mean, I'm quite willing to do that. I'll come down on Thursday morning. That's okay. If Michael can get, because I think he needs to have some input into the meeting as well, so everybody's clear. So if you're happy with that, I'll do that.
All right, no, thank you. A question from Mrs. Webster regarding the Greenbelt.
Sorry, Chairman.
Yeah.
Was it mine?
Well, you'll just have to wait your turn.
Oh, well, turn.
You always are.
That wasn't very.
Mrs. Webster, I'm trying to make the meeting move on. These people want to know.
Trying to pass me by.
Oh no, you'll get your turn. Mrs. Webster. Yes, it's the council feeling about the Greenbelt.
Were they aware that the government has issued guidance subsequent to the issue of the local plan that's under consultation, and it's on your agenda to talk about tonight? And the latest guidance is that the council does not have to give up Greenbelt land to meet housing targets. So the government wants councils to protect housing, protect Greenbelt land, and I think that should be your...
This is already it's been passed through the council that we are opposed to all building on Greenbelt. And as far as I'm concerned,
in answer to the lady's question, I wasn't aware.
I wasn't agreed with it in Rotherham.
Yeah. I wasn't aware of all the rules as they've changed, but as far as I'm concerned, we've already agreed that we will oppose building on the Greenbelt anyway.
I think if I can just repeat what I said at the time, and I know things have moved on since then and changed, I said that, and I think it was a resolution, we said we should explore every single possibility we had of developing brownfield sites and or other possibilities before going to Greenbelt land. That's what I said. Because I did recognise that there's a housing need, but I'm I'm delighted and welcome this statement that if the government is going to help us to protect Greenbelt land, that's really, well, as I say, it's extremely welcome, and it gives us a lot of ammunition then to defend those areas that we would like to defend.
You agreed to build it, Councillor.
That isn't what I said. I think everyone else will appreciate what
I said. It's not the debating thing. It's questions and answers. And Stuart, what have you got to say?
I can try and answer the question, but I think it's always been the position that the government has said you shouldn't be building on Greenbelt. I'm not an expert at that level on this issue. Rotherham Council have known since this LDF began that they do not have to take Greenbelt, they can take Brownbelt sites first. And they've been lobbied extensively. I mean, Councillor Burton's nodding her head, but she was the one that voted at the core to accept the core strategy. The RMBC have been lobbied quite hard, and I'll give fair due to Councillor Jetson, and I've lobbied them, and other parish councillors at the town hall, to build on Greenbelt sites first. Build on Brownbelt sites first. RMBC are now saying we will try to build on brown sites. But in my personal opinion, there's no intention of trying to build on brownfield sites. They're quite happy to steal the Greenbelt. And looking down, I know there's some people here that was at the last consultation for the resource centre, I was quite disgusted at some of the answers that were coming back from RMBC councillors. I couldn't get a straight answer on any question that I asked on housing numbers, on the traveller side, and the housing down by Pennypiece. The answers were all over the place. Rotherham will build on Greenbelt land whether you like it or not. I was told at that resource centre, basically, we're having the traveller site, whether we like it or not, and we're having the housing down at Pennypiece. It wasn't a consultation, it's never been a consultation, it's a sham, because people of Anston, Dinnington, everywhere else in Europe have not been listened to. But you're right, Greenbelt should not be built on until all the brownfield sites. And when Councillor Burton quotes that there's a housing shortage, I disagree, because if there was a housing shortage, I disagree, because if there was a housing shortage, the 200 houses at the Woodside at Dinton would have been up and sold by now.
Right, Mr Lewis, would you like to ask your question now?
The figures show.
Mr Lewis, you want to know if the people who were the senior advisors to what do you call him, the fellow that was the police commissioner, I don't even know who it was, so it's all right, should be asked to stand down, or what, is that the gist of your question, surely?
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Well, you've asked your question.
The meeting in 2005 was 31st of May.
Mr Lewis, Mr Lewis, can I interrupt you? We're not bothered about 2005, I'm talking about tonight in November. You've asked a question, do we think that these people should stand down? As far as I'm concerned, I'm quite happy to let the court of justice go its own way.
Children and young people services.
Yeah, I can't do anything about that.
Children and young people services. Councillor Burton.
Yeah. It's not our business what happens at Rotherham Borough. Right.
Councillor Burton.
Right.
Was on.
Mr Kavanagh, we'll have your question now.
Right on the children and young people during 2006.
He's gone, he's had the sack, he's finished.
2007,
Excuse me, Chair.
2008.
Excuse me, Chair.
These are the meetings.
Excuse me, Chair. Did we answer Mr Lewis's question?
No.
The second point is, you shouldn't be making derogatory remarks against people in the public forum.
Oh, I didn't realise I'd done that.
No, you said,
Mr Lewis,
you just made a derogatory remark against them.
Mr Lewis, as far as I'm concerned, I'm quite happy to let the system take its course and deal with all these people. There's nothing, there's nothing that I can do about it. There's nothing that we around this table can do about it. And no matter how much you talk about it, there's nothing we can do about it at all. So I'm going to move on to the next question, which is Mr Kavanagh. Right, Mr Kavanagh, you want a question about the new trading estate?
26th of February.
Yeah.
10th of June, 20th of June.
Mr Lewis, can you be quiet? Can you be quiet? Mr Lewis, Mr Lewis.
She was also on the school.
Mr Lewis, would you please be quiet? We're not listening to you. Right, Kevin, we'll continue on.
Chairman, I'm standing again. You need to make a decision on what you're doing. You cannot carry on like this.
I'm asking you all to sit down.
Right,
and we'll have progress.
Make a decision.
The progress is that I've answered Mr Lewis as far as I'm concerned as chairman, that we'll let things take their own course. And now we're on now.
Talking over it.
It's asking the council, not you.
I'd like to ask whether or not the council is in agreement with the new trading estate that's proposed to Todley.
I've not really looked into it.
Can I?
Right, Kev.
Well, I'll partly answer.
It does have a lot to do with Anston, but the lady just said, what does that have to do with Anston? Well, if you watch on YouTube other council meetings, well, I do. Other council meetings, councillors from Anston were against this new trading estate in the meeting. Yeah, at Todley, sorry. Councillors who attended the meeting.
Attended as resident.
I'll answer the question.
Go on, no, you want to.
Can I just... I'd like to go back to Miss Webster's question, actually, because I had my hand up to answer that one, but I got overlooked. If I can just address that one first. No, we didn't, or we haven't had any advice from central government on planning law. I'd just like to pick up on what Councillor Thornton said. As a parish council, we've never really discussed the core strategy. We didn't have a discussion on it, we didn't vote against it. We didn't really have a discussion on the LDF sites and policies proposals. It was a thing that came up, I think, at the annual meeting about building on brownfield sites first, which is not really a discussion on the sites and policies. The only site that we made a decision on last year was to object to the Gypsy and Traveller site at Southampton and Kibbick Park Station. We've never made a decision on any other of the proposed sites. I have personally, as a borough council resident, I don't know whether any other councillors have, 3 councillors off this parish council voted in favour of the core strategy in September, which basically gives the green light for the LDF. I objected to it the three other, Councillor Beck, Councillor Dalton and Councillor Burton voted in favour of it. And I'm sorry, but that's basically the infrastructure that sets up the rest of the LDF. So that's where we are at the moment. We've got the other items on the agenda. If I can just address Kevin's point, I don't know if you're referring to me attending Dinnington Town Council or other councillors.
Well,
I attended Dinnington Town Council as a resident, not as a councillor.
you didn't,
You've got to do one more.
and you were against trading estate.
But it wasn't really, I didn't say I was against it. I think the Town Council voted against it, if I remember correctly. I'm not in favour of it anyway, I'll tell you that now. I mean, it could come out later on.
As an Anston councillor, I think that we should be looking deeper into this, because
Well,
we've got...
well, yeah, see, I have a problem with this, because I was the only borough council that went to the court strategy hearings with the inspector last year. Out of 63, there was me, which shows how much interest other councils take in what's happening. Well, I'm giving you a response to it. And last year at that meeting, they proposed to build houses and a school on that area of land, and it was turned down by the inspector and also the borough council planners. For some reason, we now have an area equivalent to the size of Todwick that they're wanting to develop as industrial and employment land. It was never shown on the Sites and Policies document last year. It suddenly appeared, so nobody at this moment in time, I don't know what they're proposing. But whatever they propose, if they develop it to that scale, it's going to have a knock-on effect on the traffic and everything else in this area. Sorry? Well, I wasn't involved in the debate, because you're only allowed to ask a question, not part of the debate. I mean, other residents were involved in the debate, and so were the town councillors.
Can I come in, please, John? as well?
Yeah.
We don't know that much about it yet, other than it's a massive area.
You did actually say that. You did actually say, no, don't look like that.
No, I mean, we're not having are we having a discussion, or is Councillor Thornton going to answer you?
No, I'm asking you a question, because you were the person I agreed with it, against it. So what I'm asking is you said that there were land...
Shall I tell you, I think you've been selective here, Kevin.
There were 34 acres further down across from South Yorkshire Caravan that had already been prepared for industrial units, which it has. And you said that Rotherham Council had paid for that, but they didn't.
I didn't say that at all. I don't know who's paid for it.
Well, I think we got a grant from Yorkshire Forward.
It might well have been from Yorkshire Forward when they were in existence. What if you look at the video?
Back to your question about the trading estate, I don't think that councillors should just jump on bandwagon like they're doing housing and say no. I think you need to discuss things, and you need to look around areas to see what is required, because we've got a serious problem down in Killerton with lorries coming through Southampton. And I think that if you can put units nearer to motorway, there might be a chance that this lorry company could actually move up nearer to...
The lorry company could move to Dinnington, as far as I'm concerned, on that site that's already there. The point I made at Dinnington Town Council was, let me finish, Kevin. The point I made at Dinnington Town Council was they should develop that site first before they think about moving to the one at Todwick Roundabout. That was the point I made.
Right, Kev,
not that I was against it. I'm not entering into a debate with you.
Kevin, can I move on, because there's...
just one more item.
Yeah.
No.
The item was that I know you were answering me in that way, and so they could have gone onto this site and then...
That's what I said.
But I've done my own work. There were 10 lorries coming out to Killerton Park, the distance from Todwick to Killerton saves £5 per day in fuel on each vehicle. It totals £12,000 per year out of that company.
Well, you put that forward to the Borough Council in support.
Kevin, can we move on, because this is
Well,
an
entitled
item
to.
later on in the agenda.
Sorry.
So it's item number 10 on the agenda, so we're going to take
Can I-
this
can I
last
come in?
question.
Ask the question now.
You said that I could come in.
Mr Bunker. Mr Bunker.
Chair, you said that I could come in.
Yeah,
and make a
we haven't got
reply.
any time to it now. Come, Mr Bunker.
Yeah, it was on your website, you've got a questionnaire regarding next year's budget. This year's budget, where you've put figures against certain items. You've given no supporting information at all as to how those figures have been arrived at, or what you can get for that sort of money. So I don't see how any of us can make any decisions.
Yeah, well, it's very difficult, you see, because it's last year's budget that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Last year's budget, that's what you're talking about, because we haven't done this year's yet.
that's for this year.
But it was at the discussion times last week, and it's very difficult to put down every penny that we have to discuss. We try and go through everything. I mean, for instance, trees. that's a health and safety thing, and that's what the railway have decided. Trees, 10,000 quid, and we've already had, how many have we cut down? We've cut 6 down already, and that's cost us what? Well, it don't matter, it's cost us money anyway. So, if there's any further things that you want to know about the budget, the thing is to get in touch with us immediately, and you'll be answered straight away. But, I mean, we're asking for something now that's a year out of date, Stuart.
They're correct that the budget things you've seen on the website are last year's. The idea was that we fix the budget and then we would put it out to the public for comments. What actually happened was only part of the budget went out, the parts that of the wages for the employees, the 10,000 for the hubs and 1 or 2 others, I can't remember off the top of my head. Them decisions, I will tell you now, them decisions were already made before they went out for consultation. And in my opinion, my personal opinion, there was no intention of changing them figures. We are having another consultation this year, although as a council, yet again, we've left it late, and it's going to be a rush to get the consultation in.
I might still
talking.
Because Stuart, you're rambling on about this. Look, the reason that you didn't get you're not getting the stuff now is that the last 4 meetings were cancelled, but they were on the agenda at the time, and we'd have had that already now to go, but for 4 meetings we had to cancel them. Now we are in the process, it's on the agenda tonight to fix up the dates for these meetings in November, which we wanted a month earlier, but we weren't able to discuss it for some reasons. So I'm going to move on.
What is the point of the questionnaire? This doesn't provide any information on Mr. Burgess's listing.
Well,
Mr.
Bunker.
As we know, we're getting value for money.
Mr. Bunker, last year was the first time we tried to get it through to the members of the public. We can only get better, can't we? Right. I now declare the meeting open. The closing of the public session, the opening of the Parish Council meeting.